Hello, welcome to Being Reintegrated. This is Tim Wright. So I wanted to talk with everyone because I just finished Samartan's mythic novel, Le Crocodile. It has been translated to English. You can go and get it on Amazon. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I did some analysis, of course, with AI, and we were able to find some really cool overlaps. And it's not just to talk about the crocodile. This has been a project that I've had for a while, which is how will we explain to people what's going on in the imaginal? So essentially, what's going on is that Samartan is tapping into the imaginal. And when you do so, it expresses itself in that manner. Um, Now, the dual benefit is that the crocodile is not only a presentation of the imaginal, it's using the rational mind and what academicians call topoi, T-O-P-O-I, of the lessons of Leon in his presentation. So 30 years later, he doubled down essentially and he started talking about motifs that he wrote about in the lessons of Leon. Now, this kind of scholarship is not really available. We're in the cutting edge and the breaking point of technology, so we have the ability to look at this stuff in a way that it probably couldn't have been seen before. So the first thing I wanted to go over is how important this book is. It seems like it's about nothing but, some kind of mythic imagery. That's exactly where it gets really, really good. If you map it to Joseph Campbell's Masks of God, which is one of the best studies we have of the imaginal realm, in mythopoetic terms, you can see that it aligns up perfectly. And I think it's real easy to align anything with Joseph Campbell because he had such a vastly insightful mind and he linked together so many things. So I was never able to see whether or not the ability of Joseph Campbell was like his creative power or whether or not it was actually part of the myths. But when I studied a lot of the occult symbolism, I found that Henry Corbin talks about it as the imaginal realm. And so what happens is when you tap into the imaginal realm taps into your mind. It starts to convey a very well-known trope of information. And that's what I think the crocodile is Samartan tapping into the imaginal. For some reason, I have it in my mind that he was in prison during the time he wrote it, but that's not true at all. I don't know why my head tells me that he was in prison, but he was not in prison. He wrote it in 1799. So before he wrote The Spirit of Things, he wrote Le Crocodile, which is a 500-page book in French and 300 pages in English. Massively good material. And I'm saying that because I'm trying to lay the ground for what's coming next. Like I said, I analyzed this pretty intensively, and essentially what happened, Samartan coded his understanding 30 years later, mind you, of his youth and exposure to the Elukoan in the crocodile. What happened was he actually put in the book terms that if you understand the Elukoan, you'll understand what he did. And I don't need to prove that. You can disprove it if you want, finding that it has a relationship to something else. But what I think it is Samartan's survey in mythopoetic language from the imaginal realm of the demonology of the Elukoan. It's profound, profound material, but if you don't have eyes to see it, you won't be able to see what I'm telling you. So there is an inner commentary, how this relates to the abstractions and the lessons of Leon and the topoi, and then some of the proofs of the demonology in the Order des Coens Ressuscités. Essentially what you do is we're going to have you do exorcisms, and then read this novel and not journal, but you'll have the mythic imagination fired up once you exercise, and then your mind will have something to focus on. That's essentially what we're doing. So anybody that wants to recreate the material can recreate it. But I think this is the safest way without putting people into harm, psychologically, of doing it. So if you get Le Crocodile and you know what the exorcisms are, you could do it yourself. However, I would recommend that you have a mentor, because it will cause some bubbling to the surface, we should say. Because the exorcistic work in the Elocoen, as found in the Rhone Equinox, is not something to toy with. Luckily, we have this book, which you can use as a double methodology, a methodological filter, so you won't get too unraveled. And so Saint-Martin's Crocodile is perfect green band material. Now, I didn't say much other than that. I wanted to let people know, though, because on Resurrecting the Coen, I really wanted to give people an understanding of what was being said in these materials. I think the Crocodile is one of the best things we have, because it puts you into that mythic, imaginal realm, and it grounds you back into Coen pedagogy. The lessons of Leon can be found throughout the Crocodile. If you know what's being said, you can find the topoi of the lessons in it. Drinking coffee. So that is a massively good thing that we have now, is that instead of trying to prove the rational Paracelsian alchemical stuff, the Crocodile actually gives us an alchemy and a kind of journey through the imaginal as we're doing the alchemy. It lines up very, very well with almost everything I've studied. It lines up with the Mysterium Canonctionis from Jung. It lines up with Joseph Campbell's four-book series, Masks of God. There's things there that absolutely would blow your mind were we to talk about them. Let me see if I can get my document here. So the first part is that in Joseph Campbell's book, Primordial Mythology, I think it's called, or Primitive Mythology, he talks about the separation of heaven and earth. And that is about the false assemblies and chaotic councils. Those are in cantos 1 through 10. So I went through scholars in the French scholarship line, both of the Society of Martinus de Pasquale and other scholars, and no one has really done much work on the Crocodile. So this is a new thing, I guess you could say, but more than a new thing, it's a real thing. So your mind will be able to take the Crocodile into the realm that you would experience in the ritual of the Elocoen. You don't have to use the ceremonial aspect. You can use the mythological that has existed since the beginning of history. That's why I mapped it to Joseph Campbell, showing that the imaginal came out in Saint-Martin. You don't need to do some kind of operation if you're not into geometry, if you're not into, this kind of enlightened Pythagorean number symbolism. You don't have to do any of that. But the imaginal will talk to you in the Crocodile. So I'm really grateful that we were able to do this. Ironically, I'm wearing green. I'm not the Crocodile, but I could be. So there's a very beautiful part about what Saint-Martin did here. And I think that we would miss it were we to, just try to put it into the political, social commentary that it looks like. It looks like it's another, and I said this in the introduction, it looks like it's another social commentary in the same genre as Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy. But it touches a lot more occult aspects than, we would want to admit. Even getting into some pretty strange material, like in the second canto. I mean, I'm not going to go through all of them. That'll be annoying to you guys as listeners. But in the second one, he talks about the genie of California. So it just shows how quickly Saint Martin was tied into actually what he says. In the Watkins manuscript, volume 1, I showed a lot of his disparate writings as Amadou presented them. And what it shows is that he had a massive understanding of mythology. Watkins Volume 1 shows he went through all of mythology. He went through all of the theological understandings. He went through philosophy. He studied the philosophers of his age. So Saint Martin is the real deal. If we look at Watkins Volume 1, you'll see on and on and on. There's so many areas that he got caught into. I don't know if he just sat in a library during the French Revolution, hiding from the people that, he got robbed. In Montportrait Volume 2, we learned that he got robbed and that he was not having the best relationships with the opposite sex and that he was kind of bullied a little bit. Some of those things, profound life experiences. So I think he was very seclusive and he sat in libraries reading. But Volume 1 of the Watkins manuscript goes over some of his mythological viewpoints. And so we could look at his mythological viewpoints, which we now have, and look at Le Crocodile and see where it lines up. And I can almost guarantee that there is more markers of the imaginal as indicated by Joseph Campbell in his study of mythology than there would not be. But I haven't done that work yet. Maybe that's for someone else to do. The Watkins Volume 1 and 2 can be grabbed on Amazon along with the Crocodile. All these works from Kim Publishing have been made available on Amazon. And the reason why is because I don't want them to be taken out of circulation. These books will be around. Even if I don't get any profit from them, they will be around. So like we experienced with the Treatise of Reintegration and how it went unavailable and how it's out of print and there's a scarcity and then we couldn't get it. And then a lot of these books go through that. These self-published volumes go through that exact thing. The author goes, well, I'm going to take my rights back and work on another project, and they never do. Or they do it so privately that the printing is no longer available because the company folds, because it's very difficult to keep buying books and selling them privately. You don't really make a profit. So I took that all into consideration, made Kim Publishing books available on Amazon. You'll be able to get them for perpetuity. Those are available, and I also have the OmniShelf, which a lot of these videos will start popping up on. But that's for you to see some of the background behind the Crocodile. Of course, I could talk forever about this stuff. I mean, I've been doing it for years. And I haven't, like I said, I haven't even studied Le Crocodile and the mythological presentation he gives in the Watkins Volume 1. Which I think would be a very, very good fruit. But also, the Crocodile lines up with primitive mythology and all of the 4 series of Masks of God. I couldn't be any happier than I am right now with the Saint Martin crescendo of learning into the imaginal realm and how it echoes the lessons of Leon. But it would take a long time to keep talking about all this stuff. I guess what we could do, though, is talk a little bit about the lessons of Leon. So I mapped all of the lessons of Leon. So the cantos go through each one of the lessons. And also, we'll see, if you're familiar with the language, I did the black band rituals, and matched those up with the crocodile. So my thesis that the crocodile is a demonological presentation is not without very, very strong founding. I mean, it may sound like it's fringe scholarship, but it's not at all. I did a lot of analysis into the black band, into the red band stuff that we do have, into the demonology of the Elukoan as talked about through all of the material, and you can really, really see an arc going on here if you match it up with everything else. So the lessons of Leon, there's cantos 1 through 8, and you can start to understand that those are abstract lessons given in the imaginal form. You start to get the approach to Cape Horn, the animal riders dissolving. There's imagery. I mean, this is a powerful, powerful volume that I'm happy to have available on Amazon with the rest of Saint Martin's materials. So far, we have all 3 volumes of the Watkins manuscript that are available. Volume 3 is coming out very, very soon. It's being translated right now from a very rare French document, which is Volume 3, according to a scholar's survey of the Watkins manuscript, which I don't have, but this is a reconstruction in English of all of the material that you would find there. So we have that. We have The Spirit of Things, Volume 1 and 2, and Bader's commentary on The Spirit of Things. Profound stuff. We have Bader's commentary on the Errors in Truth, which Saint Martin talks about in Crocodile. Not Bader, but he talks about Errors in Truth. In the future, I'll have the German Illuminism for Saint Martin's books. And also now we have the crocodiles. So this is a massive, massive thing available just on Saint Martin, just on Illuminism, Martinism, as I think it should be presented, because this is in Saint Martin's own words, and all of the analysis is secondary and derivative of those works. It's not trying to tie in something that's not related to that, like other things. So anyway, thanks for watching. That was a long video. You guys are awesome. Thanks for the support, and I hope to see more not presentations, but more reflections on Saint Martin's Crocodile.